Hey, what's up, guys? It is Coach Eric Freedom here with another episode of the Finding Reason podcast. And the theme is Know Your People. And today's peoples that we got is Coach Luke Karsana. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's get right into it. Who is Coach Luke?
Who is Coach Luke?
Who is Coach Luke?
All right, we're going on the deep end. I like it. Coach Luke is a 28-year-old male who came into the gym 10 years ago as an 18-year-old who was really just looking to qualify for the CrossFit Games and wanted to coach out of a passion for seeing people thrive in their health and fitness. And now he's here 10 years later. I'm giving you the summary version. Is that okay?
I love the summary version.
But now he's here 10 years later, and he is more passionate than he was when he was 18 years old about seeing people thrive in their health and fitness and in their lives in general, and has the same heart, but is doing different things to be able to impact those people.
That was a weird third-person analysis of yourself. That was really meta. It was me listening to you.
I only speak meta.
It was you. It was me listening to you talk about yourself in the third person.
Yeah.
So I was stuck on one thing, but I'll ask about other things. But so how many times, for those that don't know, how many times did you make the CrossFit Games?
I've made the CrossFit Games 0 times.
In the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
There's always year 11, though.
There's always year 11, which is this year.
Yeah. That is this year.
Yep.
So 18 years old, 28 years. 18 years old, 28 now, 10 years.
Yeah.
What are some things, how does that 10-year journey look like?
Yeah. Are you talking about in terms of coaching or in terms of competing?
Both.
Since starting here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first 1 to 2 years of me being here was just full on ambition mode. I was just fully green light on trying to compete and doing as much training as possible to mimic what the CrossFit Games athletes were doing at the time, which is a lot of exercising. And also learning about where my limitations were at too. I think I spent the first 2 years really just getting hurt and realizing that I wasn't as fit as I was, and then trying to go through a lot of physical therapy and a lot of, chiropractic, random stuff to help me stay afloat, keep my body together. And so, yeah, I would say a lot of my fitness journey in the beginning was really just about putting in as much work as possible or as needed to get fitter. And I'm really just, and when I say as much work as possible, I'm really just talking about training and exercise. Now, I would say the following 3 years after that was me experiencing the negative effects of overtraining and then also malnourishing my body. So not getting enough sleep. I was in college at the time. I was living with 4 other roommates. I was definitely not eating enough food to be able to challenge myself and train myself at the level that CrossFit Games athletes were training at. I was also very distracted. You and I have talked about this a lot, where I was just I was dating a lot of girls, and I would let that kind of pull me away from the thing that I actually wanted to focus on more of, which was competing and coaching. And so that was kind of summarized almost the first 5 years. I spent a lot of hours still coaching and getting a lot of experience, but just distracted in every other part of my life, I think.
Would you say that was distraction, or is that just normal everyday life? Because I think you actually I feel like me knowing you had a very unusual early 20s, right? You chose to go to a closer college so that you could still be at Reason. You stayed local, and you made a lot of decisions around that. So it was absolutely very important to you. But at the same time, you are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, trying to figure out your life, right? And fitness is just one facet fitness and coaching was one facet, very important facet of your life, but it's one facet. So it's like, I would say that it seems kind of normal that like you'd go through those things, but you call them distractions.
Yeah. I call them distractions because I think looking back at that time, I mean, looking at who I am now, I would argue that I am a lot less distracted than I was back then. And I would say that me living a life that is more focused on things that I want to focus on is way more fulfilling than, I don't know, allowing myself to get distracted as I think a normal 18 to 21-year-old would get. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, being 18 to 21, I think it's pretty normal for you to like, I don't know, go out to the bar drinking, like go to parties in college and do stuff like that. I wasn't like a party animal, but like I think that there were nights where like I just made a bad decision to like go out and hang out with friends at like 11 p.m. at night when I knew I had to be up at like 7 in the morning the next day. So it was just like it was a distracted season for me. Yeah.
How's that shifted over the years now in terms of your focus, and what does discipline look like in your life now, 10 years later?
Yeah. So can you ask the first question again?
So how's that changed over, like, I guess over the course of 10 years, and what does discipline look like now?
Yeah. I would say discipline for me is, I mean, that the disciplines that I have now are determined by, I think, like, ideally the person that I would like to be. So for example, if you asked me, am I different than the person that I was when I was 21 years old, I'd be like, oh, heck yeah. And I think anyone would say that, right? Like if they're 30 years old, 35,
most
40.
Most people would say that, yeah.
Most people would say they're different than the person they are at 21. But what's the difference between someone who's 25 and 30 or even 30 and 40? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the answer is still always going to be the same. I'm a different person at 40 than I was at 30. I'm a different person at 30 than I was at 20. And so I think for me, it's like, it's me envisioning who I would like to be later on in my life. And for me, like, I'm only thinking like probably 10 years ahead of my life right now, or like when I'm 40, who would I like to be? And then really just thinking about disciplines that I would like to have normal in my life, or a part of my life, or a part of who I am by the time I'm 40, but do those things, practice those things now, you know? Because I think like at the end of the day, you and I have talked about this a lot, where like everyone is becoming someone. And if I'm going to become someone, then I'm at least going to be intentional about who I'm becoming. I'm not just going to be like someone who is a victim, or someone who just reacts to the things that happen to me. I want to be someone that I choose.
How's that, you know, as you look into the future, how's your perspective changed on the way that you see the world? You know, I don't know if you categorize like maybe from your first 5 years of being 18 to 23 versus 23 to 28. Like, how do you see those as different seasons of your life? And how's that focus shifted?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest seasons are like early college to college, to the end of college. Then from the end of college as like an early adult. I mean, I would still consider myself an early adult. I'm getting later into that now. But like then 21 to like 25 or 26, and then now 26 through like me about to be 29. It's like, I think now that I'm in my later 20s, it's easier for me to, I think it's easier for me to just not have to, or it's easier for me to not pay attention to, I think, maybe like how I feel all the time about certain things. You know, I may feel disappointed in myself, or I may feel disappointed in other people, or I might feel really upset about a certain circumstance, but I don't let that determine like what I'm going to do, because what I'm going to do can be different than all of the circumstances that, you know, I might be in. So I think to answer your question though, biggest difference is like, I'm a lot more emotionally mature. And because of that, it's easier for me to have a lot of clarity over just the decision making that I do. Like I don't have to think about how I'm going to spend my time on Saturday night after 8 p.m. You know, I already know that if I want to be up early on Sunday morning because I want to read or something like that, then I'm going to bed by 9 p.m. Yeah. You know, so.
You described earlier, like 18 years old, the mission of your life was to make the CrossFit Games, and then like eventually that kind of evolved into coaching people. How would you describe the mission of your life now in this season? And do you see that changing in the next X amount of years?
Yeah. Yeah. I think in a lot of ways, are you talking about like my personal mission?
Sure.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways, my personal mission is very aligned with what is happening at Reason, but it's really just to like, I think beyond health and fitness, it's to see people thrive in every aspect of their life, whether it's in their marriage or whether it's in their relationships or whether it be in their careers, in their professions. Like, I think for me though, in my profession now as a coach, it starts with health and fitness, but ultimately I would love to see people like feel like they have a grasp or some sort of I think like ownership or contributing factor to like, what do I want my life to look like? And what does it look like to get from where I'm at right now to where I want to be there?
What do you need to do in your life on a consistent basis, routinely, for you to be able to accomplish that mission?
Yeah. I think
what does it take to be Luke, basically?
What does it take to be Luke? Or the Luke that I want to be.
Correct.
What you're saying. Yeah. That's a very good question. I think it's just continuing to do what I'm doing right now. I don't think much has to change right now. But I do think that I need to be a lot more detail oriented around the things that I do. Just because I don't spend... I like to get something done, and oftentimes I like to get a lot of things done, and oftentimes me getting a lot of things done can be a detriment to the quality of the thing that I'm actually getting done, you know? So if I get the thing done and then move on to the next thing, I never really have a moment to like reflect on like, well, am I proud of this thing, right? Like, am I proud? Do I feel good and fulfilled and happy with the way that I don't know, finish this project or
what about like tangibly and like, or even tactically, like what does it take?
Yeah.
On a day-to-day, like what are you doing on a day-to-day basis that, I don't know, it's like eating a certain way, or I don't know, going to bed at a certain time, or listening to a certain amount of podcasts, or reading a certain amount of books, or watching certain shows or not watching certain shows. I don't know. Like what does it take?
Yeah. So the first thing that came into my mind was this idea of like, I don't think I'm not doing anything that I'm aware of that will lead me away from who I want to be. I do think though that as I get older and as more responsibilities pile on me, I think that I need to be a better protector of the responsibilities that I currently have right now. So for example, like tangibly, I need to be a better protector over my growing relationship with my wife, aka my marriage, right? Like if I say that I want to be the best husband to her possible, then I need to first of all identify and ask her, what do you feel like it takes for me? Like what do you feel like I don't know how I'm trying to word this, but like I would have to ask her, how can I be the best husband to you possible? You know, and if I can get good feedback from her on that, then I can kind of like figure out what that looks like tangibly. Or like if I say that I want to be someone who prioritizes my health and my fitness, then like I think the standard for me is like, I'm not going to train or I'm not going to exercise anything less than 4 to 5 times a week. I'm also not going to be someone who doesn't get anything less than 7 hours of sleep. Obviously, unless I have kids at some point in the future. Or I'm also not going to be someone that like consistently goes out past 9 p.m. You know, I have to protect like I have to protect the habits and the routines of someone that prioritizes their health and fitness, you know? And for me, it's going to bed at a certain time. I would say for sure it's about eating enough food and making sure that my nutrition is intentional and directional. And then also it's making sure that, yeah, I do challenge myself in some sort of way with my exercise.
Do you think if you had a superpower that you have, do you have a strength where maybe it just seems really normal for you, but it seems like it's something that's very difficult for others? So I'll give you an example. Someone asked me this the other day and they said, hey, like if you had one, what do you think it was? And I thought to myself, that's like such a hard question to answer because, well, what you're telling me is that it's normal to me. So then it's just going to be like, and why would, like, I wouldn't be able to think about why that's harder for someone else. But I thought to myself, I actually have a very decent baseline of finance. Like I'm not a money guru and I'm not like a financial advisor or anything like that. And I can't pick and I can't guess how the stock market's going to fall or anything like that. But what I realized, I have a like very general understanding, like a deep understanding of basic finance principles 101, like make more than you spend, or, you know, like saving principle, all that stuff. And I was like, oh, the average person maybe doesn't know these things. Yeah. But it's still normalized to me that, you know, because the way that I was raised, because having a first generation immigrant mother, just be like, never have debt. I dare you, like, don't you ever dare swipe that credit card and not pay it off. Yeah. Like if you ever have that credit card debt that goes month to month, guess what? Mom's not paying it. Right. So it's like all these things, like, because I grew up that way, I thought that was just normal. I thought everybody can grow like that. But no, that's not normal. Yeah. Do you feel like you have a special skill set or something that's like, oh, I do this and it's just so normal for me, but maybe for others it's like a superpower?
Yeah. That's really good. I don't know if I would call it a superpower or not, but like and Maddie has said this, my wife has said this like so many times, like she said that I'm really good at adapting to like any situation possibly. Like for example, on Monday, I had 10 one-on-one personal training clients where I had to
holy smokes,
all back to back within like with a 5-minute break in between each person. Okay. And I told Maddie that, and she was like, how do you feel? And I was like, I feel great. Like, I feel like energized, you know? But I realized that like a lot of people cannot switch their attention like that quickly. And I didn't realize, and I think what's happened in the past is like, I'll expect that out of other people. And I realized that people just can't do that. It takes some time to like warm up to a specific thing or a topic that they want to talk about. Whereas like I can just kind of dive right in and be really, really ready to have any conversation, you know?
Yeah, you can flip the switch.
Yeah. I think it comes from my theater background.
I can see that. That's good. Well, there's a segment of our show that we kind of like to end with, and we talk about your item of significance. So what is one item of significance that has really impacted your health and fitness journey? Yeah. That you brought on the show today?
Easily, it's going to be this backpack that I brought right here. Should I bring it up?
Yes, please.
All right.
What's in it, and what's in it, or is it the bag itself? Yeah. Or is particular items in it? Like, is there specific? Like, what does the bag represent?
Yeah. So the bag represents organization. Now, if you know me, which you do, you know that I've struggled with organization pretty much all 10 years that I've been here. And so that's something that I really, really hated. But what I hated more about organization is I hated putting in the effort to have to be organized. And so in one way, me purchasing this bag or me investing in this bag is an easy way for me to not have to have some sort of like organized system with my duffel bag or my backpack. What it does is it just helps me be someone that's a little bit more organized without needing to put in that much effort. So this is like what my bag looks like. I have 2 pairs of shoes here. I have my pre-workout. I have some straps. I have some bands here for a lot of my physical therapy stuff, some deodorant, some phone chargers here, and then some snacks in this little pack right here. So what it does is it just helps me feel a little bit more organized, but also I think it helps me have to think about something that doesn't matter to me that much, but it now matters to me because it helps me think about the things that I want to focus on more.
Not sponsored, but what's the brand called?
I'm not sponsored. They're not paying me to do this or anything, but the brand name is called Haven.
There you go.
Haven backpack.
They'll love that tag.
Yep.
Awesome. And then just the last question to kind of wrap up. You know, you are a coach. You take care of your health. And how many meals would you say that you eat out per week?
How many meals do I eat out per week? I'll say probably 1 on the weekdays, and then 1 or 2 on the weekends. So probably 3 total meals. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Man, Kara eats out once a week, dude. Can you believe that? It's crazy. It's really that'd be really challenging for me. But okay, so no, I don't know how you eat out when you eat out, because Kara's of the mindset where she only eats out once a week, so she's like, I'm gonna eat whatever. I think that's great.
Oh yeah.
If someone was to ask you, hey, like you're taking someone out and they kind of want to stay healthier and make some good choices while they're eating out in the San Gabriel Valley, what are like 1, 2, or 3 go-to places in the San Gabriel Valley where you like to be able to eat out and still feel pretty good about your choices?
Yeah.
And what do you get at those places?
Yeah. Easily. First one is probably going to be Green Zone. I go there pretty often. Did you say that?
No, that's on mine too. Yeah,
that's on yours. Yeah,
man, I never eat there, but yes, I guess it's on mine too.
There's just probably like the cleanest Hainan chicken. The Hainan chicken is what I'll order there, but they have like the cleanest one. I asked them actually. Usually, like the rice is cooked in chicken fat. They don't cook theirs in chicken fat as much as they do in just chicken broth, which is why it tastes and feels better when you eat it. But anyway, it's just steamed chicken with rice cooked in chicken broth and a couple sauces.
The pork chop's good.
The pork chop's good too. Yeah, but that's fried.
It is? No, it's not. It's grilled. It's grilled pork chop.
Oh, they have a fried one too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Second one is going to be Banana Bay. I get the
Crying Tiger, baby. Let's go.
Crying Tiger. It just comes with a side of rice, and it's just like some grilled pork, which is pork shoulder. So it's relatively lean protein. Link to the protein video somewhere here that I just filmed with Ish. And then probably number 3 would be... the easiest one. It's Taisho.
Oh, yeah. Taisho's the plug. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
What's the go-to at Taisho?
I'll usually get the salmon bowl, which is a little fattier, but tastes great, and it's very cost effective.
Extra meat for $6 too.
Extra. Yep.
Let's go. Right on.
Yep.
Well, if you guys want to take Luke out to eat, those are his go-to places. How can people get in touch with you?
You can message, or you can look on the Reason website and literally inquire about the gym if you guys want to inquire about the gym, or you can just message me, DM me on Instagram at Luke Karsana.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, and have a good one, guys.
Peace.